This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
All right, people. We have what's called a, how do we describe this? A one-topic show tonight. And the topic is Anthony friggin' Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci. Now, here's the thing. All right, here's why it's very personal to me. My son was, 4 years old during COVID. My daughter was 6. My son was pre-kindergarten, and he was in a public facility, the YMCA of Wyckoff. And this kid never missed a day of school because it wasn't controlled by the state government. Unlike my daughter, who was in school, kindergarten, first grade, and was home half the time, even during COVID 1 year later. And this poor kid, it's funny. I put together all these photo albums and videos of my kids. I think it's important. Right? I didn't have that growing up. I have a couple of photo albums, I guess, from my parents, but not like what I'm doing here, where we document everything that my daughter and son does as far as sports, as far as school, as far as family stuff, the whole thing. And I was going through it yesterday, and I look at 2020, 2021, and there she is, either in school in a mask for a year and a half, or she's at home doing her schoolwork on an iPad for maybe like an hour or two a day. Otherwise, was out of school. And we had to hire a tutor as far as getting her back up to speed in terms of where she should be. It's the most important thing in the world, your kid's education, and I'm willing to sacrifice any money that I make to make sure that she is on par and eventually goes to, I'm looking at Vanderbilt personally, right? The Ivy of the South. I think that would be really cool. Nashville. And oh, by the way, the football team's a lot better than it used to be. So I'm thinking to myself, completely SEC, right? Go down there, homecoming, Vanderbilt, Alabama. Yeah, that's going to work. That's going to work for me. No question. But the point is that Dr. Anthony Fauci kept my daughter out of school for a good 2 years. And I am not happy about that to this day. 2026, July 29th. That's just the way it goes. And he has a diary out now, which he always had. And I'm reading these passages, and I really, really want to punch this person. I'm not the type of guy who, walks up and hits 80-something-year-old people. But, boy, I'm willing to make an exception here. Because what he did, knowingly keeping my kids out of school, knowing the data, knowing the science, is a whole bowl of wrong times 10. Now, he testified today in front of Congress, and this a-hole 111 times declared the Fifth Amendment because the diary is out, and boy, it screwed him, and he knows he can't talk about the things he wrote about. Talking about loving himself. Oh, all the media attention. Oh, it's so awesome. The Washington Post, the New York Times, CNN. Oh, all the anchors there are writing me, praising me. Oh, what an absolute joke. All right, let's see. I have so many to go with here. Let's go with Josh Hawley, all right, who is a senator who goes off on Fauci, as he should. And Fauci doesn't say a thing because, again, he's pleading the Fifth. But this is so worth playing. It's going to be the whole show, guys. All right, so stick around for this because it is worth it. This guy, Anthony Fauci, doctor, should be in jail. Josh Hawley torches him here in cut number 4. Go.
Yeah, well, silence is admission. And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused on getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV. You wanted to be the sun god of science. You wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all. You wanted to lambast Trump. You wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight. You wanted to be the guy.
Thank you.
You had time to sit for In Style magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for In Style magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for In Style magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for In Style magazine and get $1 million in cash awards. But now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does.
Oh.
I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way.
Yep.
You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
Good. Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you, Josh Hawley. Seriously. And Fauci, the fifth, 111 times. I will not speak. Oh, the guy who loves a microphone suddenly can't speak. It gets better. Bernie Moreno, Senator, Ohio, also goes off on Fauci, and Fauci just has to take it because his lawyer, which we'll play in a second, told him, do not speak. You're screwed. You are so screwed. Don't incriminate yourself anymore. Here's Bernie Moreno, cut number 5. Go.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that?
Well,
it is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
correct.
I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again.
Yep.
Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you an opportunity to answer one question. Will you apologize, just apologize,
Yes.
to the people who you harmed through your actions? Will you say, do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
Nope. He doesn't.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You prick. Oh, man. Go to jail. Seriously. This person needs to be in jail. What he did to this country is utterly unbelievable. On advice of counsel, I plead the fifth. 111 times. You a-hole. Oh, my goodness. What you did to my kids, what you did to this country, you deserve to be behind bars. That's it. Nothing else matters except that this guy needs to go behind bars. And oh, by the way, if you watched MS Now, MSNBC, they didn't broadcast any of this. Nothing. Because they're protecting Fauci. And CNN jumped in and out. They didn't do the whole thing either. Fox News, where I work, yeah, we played the whole thing live, as it should be. And instead, you have, obviously, the media protecting this a-hole because they were complicit with him. They completely and totally protected Fauci. You should see the videos that I saw today where Again, this guy was praised as a superhero by Dana Bash, CNN, Jake Tapper. Had this guy over for dinner at his house. At his house in April of 2020. When, oh yeah, that's right, the country was locked down. You're not supposed to have dinner at people's houses, except Jake Tapper did. And I could go on and on with all the people that said that this guy was a hero, including me, by the way. I will admit, in April of 2020, I thought that Anthony Fauci was the right person for the job, given his resume, going all the way back to Reagan, in terms of handling infectious diseases. And then one thing really, really changed for me. Washington Nationals, New York Yankees in Washington. The first game played in baseball, empty stadium, mind you. July. I think it was almost around this date. I'll have to look it up. Yankees at Nationals. And there are 3 people in the stands, and one of them is Anthony Fauci. Oh, and he's not wearing a mask. He's talking to the people that he went to the game with without a mask. And then when he was confronted with this, obvious fact, because it's on video, he says, well, that was only for a second. I was taking a sip of water. No, it wasn't. Because you look at the video, and he is watching the game completely and totally without a mask throughout the entire game. And I said, oh, this is a phony. This guy telling all of us, my kids, they got to wear masks at all times. And then there he is, Nationals-Yankees game, not wearing a mask. I said, this guy is a phony. Forever, my mission will be to expose him. And then sure enough, today comes in front of Congress, and he 111 times declares the 5th because he is so screwed. Okay, well, before we go to break, let's go to Rand Paul, who has been at the forefront of calling out Fauci. And the media says, oh, Rand Paul, this guy, going after poor Dr. Anthony Fauci. He's the problem. No. Actually, he's not. And now Fauci, according to Rand Paul, Senator of Kentucky, will be held in contempt of Congress in cut number 1. Go.
But he was subpoenaed here to testify, refused to answer any questions, even after being directed by the chair and being advised of the law requiring him to do so. He has cited a privilege that is unsupported because of his blanket pardon and because he waived the privilege by testifying at the start. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon. At any point between January 1st, 2014 and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
Here it comes.
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
Yeah, thank you.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah.
Because you refused to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt.
Good. Contempt of Congress. And Joe friggin' Biden, well, not him, whoever ran the auto pen, gave Fauci a blanket pardon on all of this, and that's why he could say what he is saying. What an absolute joke. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. Back with so much more Anthony Fauci hour. We're not talking about anything else in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, I did promise that we're going to do a full hour of Anthony Fauci, but just to mix things up a little bit, here is LeBron James, who, again, going to the Sixers, ring chasing. All right, you have a team that is stacked to win the East, at least, even though Boston, I think, will have a say in that. Obviously, Jalen Brunson will have a say in that with the Knicks, the defending champions. I have no skin in this game, but LeBron really seems obsessed with Michael Jordan, because he is saying that the game played in the 80s and the 90s, which is obviously a clear shot at Jordan, was easier then than it is now, which is kind of funny because at last check, I was alive during the 80s and the 90s. I'm pretty sure that defense was played during that time, especially in the 90s, especially with the Knicks. But here we go. Cut number 8. Play it.
I want people to understand, and our fans to understand, that playing 82 games in the 80s and 90s is not the same as playing 82 games in the 2020s.
F you.
It's just not. The way we play, the level of pace, the level of the speed that we're playing
the
at. The
lack of defense?
It's a different game now. It's a totally different game.
I mean, what the hell are you talking about? Michael Jordan won NBA as far as like defensive all team. What am I trying to say here? He was on the all defensive team 9 times. 9 times, to quote Ferris Bueller. And now here you have LeBron James saying, you know, back in the 80s and 90s, they didn't play at the pace we did. Yeah, what? Where you could walk to the rim and dunk at any given moment over and over again? And now here you have LeBron chasing rings like he did with the Heat, like he did with the Lakers, and now he will with the Sixers. And he's talking about Michael Jordan. You know who he's talking about here. Like 80s and 90s means Michael Jordan. I'm better. He's worse. Oh, please. It's not even close, my friend. 6 times Michael went to the finals. 6 times he won and never went to a Game 7. You've been to the final 10 times and lost 6 times. And the 4 championships you won, I'll give you the Cleveland one. But overall, with the Lakers, that fake championship in 2020 when no one was in an arena, I'm sorry, I can't count it. You've won 3 times. You've lost 6 times. So stop chasing this ghost. Michael is the greatest ever. LeBron James, maybe top 10. Maybe. This is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. Back with so much more in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. So the F. Fauci hour continues. Here we have Rand Paul, who, again, I don't agree with Rand Paul on some things, other things in terms of he has been on Anthony Fauci from day one. And they have had many, many battles in Congress in terms of these hearings. And then the stupid media every time takes Fauci's side. Well, they can't anymore because Fauci, as we talked about, 111 times pleaded the 5th today because he is so screwed as far as this diary is concerned. Talking about dinners with Jake Tapper, talking about Dana Bash, sending him these really snarky texts saying, oh boy, you're a superhero. Thank you, Anthony Fauci. I could go on and on. George Stephanopoulos, same thing. Everybody in the media has been exposed. Therefore, this is barely being covered on CNN. MS Now didn't carry any of this testimony in front of Congress today because, boy, they're all complicit as well. Andrea Mitchell, Joe Scarborough, Ari Melber, Jen Psaki. I'll go down the line. Rachel Maddow. Yeah, you all glaze this guy. And now he is so screwed. And he's going to be held in contempt of Congress. All right. He has a blanket pardon from the Otto Penn administration, which is Joe Biden. But that may not cover him here completely. All right, let's see. Rand Paul. So Anthony Fauci had a lawyer next to him that tried to testify on his behalf, despite the fact that his own client was pleading the fifth over and over again. No, it doesn't work that way. Let's play this clip. Cut number 3, go.
The attorneys are not recognized. In fact, the attorney was told not to sit at the table, and he's not obeying that recommendation. There's a row behind you, sir. That's where you were told to sit, and you're not. And Now you're disrupting the proceedings. And so, look, this is the way Anthony Fauci wants to be remembered. For a lawyer not listening to the rules. That's the way you want to be remembered, and that's what you're going to do. You are not recognized, sir. Security, please remove him from the room.
Thank you. Good. Get him out. And there you go. All right. Cut number 2. Let's continue to pound on Fauci. Rand Paul telling the Fauci lawyer that he is not welcome at this proceeding before he threw him out. Cut number 2, go.
You're not recognized. You're not recognized. If you are unruly, you will be removed from the proceeding. You are not recognized. And you are not recognized, sir. Sir, you are not recognized. You are not recognized. Security, we'll hold off. But you will respect these proceedings. You were told not to sit at the table. You insist on sitting at the table. And we told you you would not be recognized. You are not invited here for testimony, sir. You are being disruptive. Would you behave this way in a courtroom? No, because the judge would put you in jail. I can't do that today, but I can have you escorted from the premises. So I would say, sir, sit quietly and don't say another word.
Wow. Rand Paul, my new hero. Good job. And eventually he was escorted out. Okay. So there's basically 2 people on the Democratic side of the aisle that make common sense. It's Bill Maher on HBO, and it's John Fetterman, Senator, Pennsylvania. Here he is, Fetterman, because he's not invited on CNN or MS Now anymore, basically. Right? Oh, boy, he was a hero when he won that Senate seat in 2022. And now, well, Fetterman says bad things about Democrats, so he's not invited on those networks anymore. But he was on Fox, and here he is calling out Fauci, calls out the origin of COVID. Again, why can't we have more Democrats like this? I don't get it. The Democratic Socialists of America love Anthony Fauci, certainly. Government control, government everything, trust everything the government does, whether it's running a grocery store or whether it's, I don't know, handling a pandemic. No, you really can't. And that's why government is as trusted as gas station sushi at this point. Here is John Fetterman going off on Fauci, and good for the senator of Pennsylvania. Cut number 6, go.
And that it's not about much more your regrets, but I have one. And that is early on that there was the theory that the virus could have emerged from the lab. And early on that became like a right-wing kinds of theory. And I thought it seemed to make sense. Now, there was a really advanced lab that was close by, and then you have this unknown virus out. So, but that became a very partisan thing. And now it seems now it's more and more emerging theory that would have come from the lab. Now, I think that the next time our nation's facing something like this, we are not become, as I might have been, blinded by the partisan idea that.
Thank you. And again, I'm sorry, that's not Fetterman on Fox. That was Fetterman directly to Fauci during these Senate hearings today. He later was on Fox basically saying the same thing. And I mean, the guy has to actually completely and totally be in jail. Like, there is no other solution here. What he did to this country is unfriggin' believable. Joe Biden, same thing, right? He went on CNN. I remember this. It was a town hall. And he says, if you don't get vaccinated, you are killing people. And if you do get vaccinated, then therefore you will never, ever get the virus. What BS, all right? Because at last check, I got vaccinated. My wife's an ER doctor, so I got in pretty early as far as getting vaccinated because I, obviously trusted what was happening. And the minute I got the vaccine, like 3 weeks later, I had COVID. I'm like, wait a minute. I was told this is supposed to prevent me getting COVID. And here's the funny part. So it's my first book, and it was about Joe Biden's presidency, actually. This is 2021. And the book is called, let's see, Come On, Man. The Truth About Joe Biden's Horrible, Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Presidency. Right? Bestseller. Yay. New York Times. Yay. All good stuff. You know what I got from COVID? I didn't get sick per se. I wasn't like on a deathbed. I got laryngitis. That's what affected me. So then I'm supposed to go on this whole, book tour where you do a whole bunch of interviews and everything else like that. And sure enough, I can't speak. I have COVID. And I have laryngitis as a result. Who gets laryngitis? I do. So that was kind of funny. And then I got COVID, I think, 3 times after that. My wife has like these tests at home. So whenever I felt like, boy, I don't really feel all that well. Sure enough, she tested me for COVID and I had it. But it was like a flu. It wasn't anything like, in other words, if COVID never existed, I would just assume I have a flu. And that's what I had. All right. So after getting the vaccine, I got COVID. That's kind of funny. And Joe Biden told me that, well, if you get the vaccine, you'll never get sick. Well, I kind of did. I'm not saying if I didn't get the vaccine that I wouldn't get COVID anyway. I probably would have, but it didn't matter, right? For 99.9% of the country, including children, my kids, 4 and 6 years old at the time, if you get COVID, it ain't going to kill you. And we were told that it might. And Anthony Fauci led that whole effort, as did Jerry Nadler. Yes, New York. Thank you, Jerry. Here he is in cut number 7 saying, there's a flashback here. 2-year-olds really should wear masks because it could, save lives or something. Cut number 7, go.
It protects against transmission of the disease to the next person. And the healthcare worker certainly ought to be required to be vaccinated. And when we have a pandemic, like COVID-19 pandemic that we had, 2-year-olds should have been required to wear masks. It would be child abuse for parents not to do that because there was no vaccination available for 2-year-olds. And the only way to protect them.
I mean, this guy, a 2-year-old, should wear a mask to be protected from COVID. Oh, my goodness gracious. When you're that young, you can't be killed by this thing. You can't get sick, basically, by it. And this guy, over and over again, Jerry Nadler, is talking about how 2-year-olds should have worn masks during this pandemic. The bottom line is that when you look at the overall damage that COVID did as far as this economy, as far as all the money. Now remember, we talk about fraud, right? In Minnesota, in California, in Ohio. That was all COVID money. Billions of dollars sent to these states to battle COVID. Chicago, their school system alone, billions of dollars to make sure that the schools are safe from COVID. Well, the problem is that money was taken and used for nefarious reasons for people to profit, including Somalis in Minnesota, in California, in Ohio, in Chicago. Overall, what an absolute joke. The worst, you can make the argument, this was the darkest time in this country's history. COVID. That 1.5 years, 2 years, where things were shut down, people lost their lives. And I'm not talking about, life itself. I'm talking about their businesses, their restaurants. I remember I was driving by, my daughter had a soccer game recently, and it was out in West Jersey. And we went by this one place that used to be what we call the indoor playground, right? I forget the name of the business, and I'm sorry for the people that lost their business. But we drove right by it. I go, remember when you were 5 years old and we took you to this place? This is the indoor playground. And she loved it, like the greatest thing in the world. COVID shut that place down. Obviously, it's an indoor playground. It's 2020. You can't have kids playing with each other. Oh, maybe you could actually, because they weren't dying from this particular disease. And this poor business, which I don't think it made a lot of money, quite frankly. I met the owner, and the owner, in talking to him, I'm like, boy, you guys probably could charge more for this. I remember having this conversation, and the owner's just like, well, I'm not really in it for the money. I'm in it because young kids need a place to go when it's raining out. I'm like, wow, that's really nice of you. That's great. And I don't know what he did before that. Maybe, he came from money. Maybe he made a lot of money in his prior life. But then this business shut down, unfortunately, because of COVID and because the business was told to shut down. And I just found that to be like a whole bowl of wrong in terms of what we're seeing as far as COVID, and then what we saw from Anthony friggin' Fauci, who shut down the government, and now today, over and over again, 111 times, pleads the fifth because he doesn't have the balls to own up to what he wrote in his own diary about his own narcissism, about bragging about shutting down schools. And now, I guess, he's not going to talk about that because he has a pardon from Joe Biden. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. This is the Joe Concha Show. We wrap this puppy up in just a moment.
This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition.
Joe Concha.
Sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. This is the Joe Concha Show, weekday edition, sponsored by the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Here's Joe Concha.
Welcome back, everybody. All right, I said that this whole hour would be completely and totally dunking on Anthony Fauci, who, as we have said, if you have not been listening, should go to jail. It's that simple. For what he did to this country, he testified today in front of Congress. No, actually, he didn't testify. 111 times he pleaded the fifth. Oh, you know what? Let's play this one more time, shall we, Mr. Kevin? Let's see. I loved Bernie Moreno, the senator of Ohio, going off on Fauci with an F-bomb. Cut number 5. Let's play it again.
It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the do you think you were for doing that?
Thank you. Perfect.
It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace. So let me ask you an opportunity to answer one question. Will you apologize, just apologize, to the people who you harmed through your actions? Will you say, do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
Yep. Oh, man. Run for president, Bernie Moreno. That's just perfect. And Fauci just had to sit there and take it, right? Like a Mike Tyson jab to the nose over and over again, whether it be Rand Paul, whether it be Josh Hawley, whether it be Bernie Moreno, and Democrats still defended this moron, this horrible person who did what he did to this country. All right, I'm going to pivot here real quick before we wrap this puppy up. Here is my colleague Jesse Waters going off on, your mayor, Zohran Mamdani, probably a big fan of Fauci as well. As far as Mamdani putting out this letter doxing rich people, because, Brian Thompson wasn't gunned down or anything. 5 blocks from where I work at Fox News, shot in the back by Luigi Mangione. So, let's put out all these rich people's addresses where you can find them, like he did with Ken Griffin, like he obviously now is doing with all these other rich people. And Jesse goes off on this and cut number 9, go.
If you own property in his town, he knows exactly where you live. The city just posted a searchable list of every homeowner on the hook for his new tax. Names, addresses, 30,000 of them. A socialist mayor handing out a Rolodex of the rich in a city that just watched a CEO get gunned down on the sidewalk.
Thank you.
Sounds like a hit list. You got a problem with it? Go protest. It's what the city's there for anyway.
I think one of the bedrocks of our city is protest. It is something that has been a part of what makes our city so special, that New Yorkers can express themselves, whether they are in support or in opposition, no matter on whatever topic.
Protest? The city runs on capitalism and cocktails.
That's true. Capitalism and cocktails. That's basically what New York runs on. And by the way, all right, so I was at, Del Frisco's, which is right next to Fox, about 6 or 7 months ago. Went there with some old friends from my beach house at the Jersey Shore. And my wife gets a glass of wine. $17 for a glass of wine? Sauvignon Blanc. $17? My God. I mean, I don't know how people are single in this city. If you go to, I understand Del Frisco's is different than other, like your average dive, but I would think even the average dive probably is like $10 for one drink. I don't know how you survive that way. I just don't. I was in Hoboken way back in the day, and they would have like Tuesday nights, and you could get like $2 for like a pitcher of beer kind of thing. Those days are long gone, but I'm happily married and happily sober, so it's all good. Anyway, this is Joe Concha. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We're back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on WABC and on stations around the country, around the world. Until then, I got 2 words for you. Bye-bye.